Welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to finally get this up and running because this has been a long time coming. I've wanted to start a BookTube for a year now. I have read my whole life. I've read hundreds probably at this point of books. And I only started just really getting into it the last year and a half. So I decided, I was like, maybe people want to hear about what I'm reading. I wanted to start this channel mostly because I feel like the books that I read aren't really what everybody else is reading. I only read closed door, super clean Christian books, and I know a lot of Christian booktubers. They usually just recommend Christian books, and then the other booktubers who recommend usually spicy books, which that is not what I read. It's not for me. So I'm kind of in the middle road where it's closed door, not necessarily fully clean, but it is to me, where it can have a little bit of cussing, a kiss or two. So it's not fully Christian and it's not fully spicy. I'm in the middle of the road. And I feel like there aren't a lot of BookTube channels that focus on the middle of the road. Like I said, there's a spectrum, and I feel like there isn't many who do what I kind of want to get into. So hopefully I give really good recommendations for you. So we'll see. So this video is a little bit of an introductory of myself. And then probably we'll get into the books that I've read so far this year. We're already in the month of March, which is crazy. I can't believe January and February are already over. It's so sad, this year's flying. Let's start off by introducing myself. I am Mary. I'm 24 years old. I live in New York with my husband. We are attending school here, and this is his last semester, and he'll be done in May. We have finally seen the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel. And so we are really excited to move back home. We're gonna go back to the Idaho, Utah area. I'm a full-time artist. That is my occupation. That's what I went to school for. So yeah, I think that's like the most important things. Except, I guess, I have loved reading literally my whole life. My mom can attest to this. For example, I spent an entire summer reading books in my parents' little front sitting room area, and I just would lock myself in there and just take a stack of books from my mom's library, stack them up, and just like finish one every single day. I probably read like 25 books that summer. I didn't have any friends. That's so embarrassing. But here we are, and maybe good will come from this. I'm really excited. That's all about me. And now we're gonna get into some books that I have read so far this year. And I'm gonna show you my books that I've read. I'm an artist, mind you. So these books, I wanted to make them in tiny form. Aren't these the cutest thing you've ever seen? And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this with all my books. So I did this all last year, January to December. I was very dedicated, still am, which I'm really proud of. So I have here a bowl of books. All the books that I read last year are in this bowl. So maybe we'll get into some of these at another time. Maybe some of my favorites that I read last year. I read like 120 something books last year. Yeah, it was way too many. And I'm kind of on that trajectory right now. I've read a lot of books this year so far. So I will just get into it. Let's do this. The first couple books I read this year in January were the series, oh my gosh, what is it called? The series is called the Kinder Poison series by Natalie May. So here's book 1, book 2, and book 3. And they're all so cute and little, and they're little stacked up like this. Isn't that just the most adorable thing you've ever seen? So I read these books. Really good. It's been a month and a half since I read them, so I don't remember anything about it. I think I gave all of these 3.5 stars. It's a fantasy romance, not dystopian, I don't think, but kind of vibes about a girl who goes on this kind of quest kind of thing with 2 brothers. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I am really not going to get into any of these plots, just giving you my star rating kind of thing, you know? My mother interrupted me, so we're going to get back into it. I was at this book, How to Tame a Beastly Lord by Bree Wolfe. I gave this one, I think, 3.5 stars. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling set in like Regency romance era. It was good. I don't have much to say about it. It's Beauty and the Beast retelling, marriage of convenience, one of my favorite tropes of all time. You will see that throughout these books. There's probably 4 or 5 in there. So yeah, if you like Beauty and the Beast retellings, this one, it was okay. It was 3.5 stars. So I would recommend it. So yeah. Then I read the Divine Rivals, switch these sides, Divine Rivals duology by Rebecca Ross. And an unpopular opinion, I am for sure, is I think I gave the first one 3 stars or maybe 3.5. And then the second one I gave 2 stars and I almost DNF'd it. I really, really had to push through. I don't even know what to say. It's a really unpopular opinion because I know that these books were a top 5-star for a lot of people. And that was this just wasn't for me. It's basically about these 2 writers, journalists, who are kind of office enemies. And so yeah, kind of that kind of story, but not going to get into the plot. These were not for me. They may be for you. It's a fantasy, magical world where gods are fighting. Again, not my thing. I also read Kissing for Keeps and Just Friends Forever by Martha Keyes. These are really cute. I gave them both 4 stars. Like I said, every book that I'll probably review ever is closed door, so you don't really ever have to ask. I might say if there's any swearing or cussing in it, which sometimes there are, but not anything terribly explicit. So yeah, these 2 by Martha Keyes, super, super cute. I gave them both 4 stars. They're in the same series. It's called Shepherds in Love series. They're, I think, a brother and a sister. I think the first one is about the sister and the second one is about the brother. Again, these were my January reads, so I don't remember much about these. I know that this is best friend's brother trope, and they travel to Paris for a wedding. So if you like the whole Paris ambiance and all that, this one was really fun. And then this one is their best friends. They've been friends since they were children. He has been in love with her from the beginning of time. She didn't love him. So it's kind of a second chance kind of thing too. So that one was really cute. I think they were both really, really fun. And I think a lot of people enjoy them. I think her third one just came out like a month ago. I think it's called Selling Out, about the other brother. Yes, the other brother to this sister and this guy. I don't remember their names right now either. Maybe I should have done some studying. Then I read my first 5-star, I'm pretty sure it was my first 5-star of the year, Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This was, my YA heart was absolutely screaming. This would have been my all-time favorite book of all time, probably, if I was reading this in middle school, high school. This was really, really enjoyable. It was kind of like Hunger Games vibes. There's like trials that they have to go through. There's powers, magic powers. Except main girl is an ordinary and she doesn't have powers. So she gets chosen for these trials and she kind of has to pretend that she has a power. So she can live through it. And she falls in love, I guess. There's no kissing. Is that a spoiler? I don't know. But yeah, it was really, really enjoyable. I had a really good time. full of action, the banter between these two main characters. Really top tier. It was a lot of fun. And then I read my very first arc ever. I was really, really proud of myself for getting one. This is called Cinder Luna by Marie Soleil. I don't know is that how you say it? I don't know. It was really cute. I gave it 4 stars. I think it is out now. So it came out in like the end of January, beginning of February, I think. It was really cute. It was a Cinderella retelling, if you can't tell. And it was so much fun to like point out things that happened in the original fairy tale, that like she kind of pays homage to all of those things in this book. So that was really, really fun. And she is writing other books. His siblings will get their own fairy tale retellings. So I'm really excited about those. And then I read the Defy the Night Trilogy. Again, unpopular opinion, not my favorite. I know. I usually love books like this. I usually do love the trendy fantasy YA stuff. But this series I think I'm a mood reader now. This just was not for me. And I felt really, really bad about it. I gave this one, I think, though, still 3.5 stars. And then I gave this one 3 stars. The second book, 3 stars. And then I DNF'd the third book in the second chapter. Because I just was not feeling it. I was just like, I'm so bored. Literally spend this entire book on a boat. So I just was not into it. But I guess the plot, there's a sickness going on. The two main characters are not necessarily, they are stealing. They are stealing the cure to give to the poor, kind of a Robin Hood situation. And then a lot of things go down with that. So if you enjoy YA fantasy, I think you still will enjoy this. It's just I was not in the mood and I just did not want to read them. And then I read a few of these books in the series A Love Like This by Carina Taylor. I read 3 out of the 5. I think there's 5 in the series. The first one I read was Tuesdays Like That, which is the last book in the series, and I gave it 5 stars, and I felt terrible because I was like, I probably should have read this one first because then it kind of ruins all of the other ones for me. So this one was absolutely adorable. Her name is Tuesday, which I think is an adorable name, and she and this guy, his name is Jordan, I think. Jordan. I can read it on the back of my little book. His name is Jordan, and they accidentally get married. And it's about their relationship. So it was actually a lot of fun. 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this one. And then I read the first book of the series, Neighbors Like That. I gave this one 3 stars or 3.5 stars. It just wasn't as good as the 5th book, the Tuesdays Like That book. And I just was not into it. It's a prank wars again. I don't love the prank wars trope where they prank each other back and forth. I feel like it's really immature. These guys are in their 20s. So I just don't have a lot of fun reading those kinds of books. But if you like prank wars, then this is definitely for you. And they're neighbors, so they like prank each other back and forth across the street. And then I read the 4th book in the series. I think this one is. It's called Vacations Like This, where they both get booked in the same cabin at the same time accidentally, but it's like super snowy out there, and so they can't leave, and they have to be there for like weeks, and so they're snowed in basically. Those kinds of books are really, really fun, especially when they keep it clean. I don't know how they keep it clean, but they do, especially Carina Taylor. She's like a go-to author for me because I know that she's not gonna put anything explicit in her books. But yeah, I don't think these two didn't have any language. This one had a little bit. Not like any explicit language though, so. Then I read Heritage of Blood by K.P. Haven. This was my this is a mafia book, which is crazy. I have never read a mafia book because they are almost always explicit. But this author was like, this is closed door. I was like, let's do this. So I tried to give this genre a go. I have mixed feelings about it. It was 4 stars for me actually, but it was pretty violent. It's like the mafia. So that whole thing. This woman saves the head guy of the mafia. I don't remember what that person is called, but the head guy of the mafia. She saves his life, and she gets roped into all of the bad things, like this whole mafia war between two groups of mafia people, I guess. And there's that. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much. I don't think this is something that I typically would read, and I don't think I would read anything like this again, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It had a little bit of cussing, not any explicit swear words though, and it was closed door. Then we've got Nightweaver by R M Gray, and I gave this one 4 stars. It was really, really fun. The author compared it to Pirates of the Caribbean, which 100%, I totally felt that. Very vibey with Pirates of the Caribbean, where we've got lords and ladies and pirates. And I had a really good time, except the girl's the pirate and the boy is a lord. So they kind of switch that role. I will say the first few hundred pages there was a lot of action, so it wasn't boring, but it was really hard to get into. So I guess it was kind of boring. But once you get past that, it gets really intense, and I really, really enjoyed it. So if you like Pirates of the Caribbean, this one was really good. I really, really, really enjoyed myself. But it's going to be like a 5-book series, and this is the first one, and it only came out like 5 months ago. So we have a long time to wait for all of these to come out, which is really unfortunate. I don't usually like getting into series when they're not finished. I just have a problem that I need the next book, you know? I read a couple arcs in February. I was really, really excited for the opportunity that I got I signed up for NetGalley in February and like got 3 books immediately. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I can't believe this. So these were 2 of the arcs that I got that I have read. I haven't read the other ones that I've applied for yet. But I read Rocky Road by Becky Wade. I gave this one 4.5 stars. This was really enjoyable. This is the second book to the Sons of Scandal series. It's about the second brother. His name is Jude, and he's an FBI agent who has to go undercover as this girl's boyfriend, because her cousin is a very bad man and they have to bring him down. So they fake date, which fake dating is way fun when a writer can do it right, and I feel like it was done right here. So this one was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. I read A Rock and a Hard Place by Juliana Smith. It's about this couple who's divorced, and they have 2 twin boys, and the author explained it as as like the Parent Trap situation, and totally. I really, really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. It isn't like your typical second chance romance because it obviously involves divorce, which is a little bit heavier. But I like second chance romances. Wow, I can't speak today. I enjoy second chance romances when divorce is involved, because I feel like it's a lot more mature and the feelings are more in depth and the characters are more in depth. And so I really, really felt that here. Marigold, what a beautiful name, by the way. Marigold and Liam, it's about their second chance together, and it was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. We just got a couple more, guys, I promise. And then I read Running Mate by Leah Brunner. I'm pretty sure you pronounce it Brunner. Brunner? I don't know. I gave this one 3 stars. 3 or 3.5. This is my first book by her, and it's the first book in Under Kansas Sky series. I think there's like 5. I feel like there's a lot. It's about this guy who's running for Congress in the state of Kansas, and his PR people are like, you got to get married or they're not going to take you seriously. And he's like, I'm not dating anyone. So he tries to find somebody who will marry him, and somebody agrees. I think her name is Odette. The names aren't on the back. I think her name is Odette, and she agrees to marry him. And so it's like a marriage of convenience again. I told you, marriage of convenience is my favorite. But again, I gave it 3.5 stars. Didn't necessarily enjoy it a ton because like the plot was kind of very uninteresting to me. The Marriage of Convenience kind of bumped up my stars for me because, like I said, it's my favorite trope of all time. So like I said, it's about him running for Congress in the state of Kansas. So as fun as that can be, if you like Marriage of Convenience, I do recommend this one. And then I read Absolutely Not in Love by Jenny Proctor. I gave this 3 stars. Again, my mood, I was not in the mood for this. It was my first hockey romance, which was really disappointing because it didn't talk about hockey ever. He had like a few games during the book and like never talked about his games in the book. So that was just like weird. I don't know. I really enjoyed the male main character. I think his name's Felix. I think his name is Felix. I don't remember her name because she bothered me. But his name is Felix. He's a hockey goalie. And she swore off hockey players for the rest of her life because she had a bad experience with one in high school. I'm like, grow up. And so she refuses to date him, but he's really attracted to her. They're neighbors, so it's forced proximity kind of thing. And I just was not in the mood. I just didn't want to read it. But I didn't hate it. That's the thing. I didn't hate it, but I would never read it again, and it's not something I would write home about because it was just not very memorable. So, if you like hockey, though, actually not really, because there isn't much hockey. And then I read The Spy and I by Tiana Smith, and this just came out, I think. I didn't get an arc for it or anything, but I think it recently came out in like the middle of February. I gave this one 3 stars. I just wasn't into this one either. I'm in a mood. I'm like mood reader now. I haven't always ever been, I guess. And so, it's about this CIA agent and this girl who gets mistaken for her twin, and she gets like shot at. And so he saves her, and they're like roped into this investigation together. And in like Europe somewhere, like Slovakia, the Czech Republic, one of those countries. And so yeah, if you like that investigation kind of stuff, forced proximity, I think you would enjoy it. It just wasn't for me. It was 3 stars still, so it wasn't like the worst book I've ever read. Ooh, I read this one a while ago. I read this one in like the beginning of January. This one's called Forget Me Twice by Carina Taylor. I gave this one 4 stars. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Oh my gosh, my nose is dripping. I need tissue. It's about this couple who is divorced, but the male main character, totally don't remember his name, gets in a plane accident. He's flying his own plane, and he gets in an accident, and he has amnesia, and he doesn't remember. He has retrograde amnesia, and he doesn't remember the last 2 years, and that is the time period where they got divorced, so he thinks that they are still married. And so they go through that whole thing. The doctor tells her that he can't tell him that they're divorced, or that will like mess with his brain to like give him those memories back instead of him figuring it out on his own. So she has to pretend to still be married to this man. Then we've got The Painter's Daughter by Julie Klassen. I gave this 3.5 stars. It was just really heavy. I don't love heavy books. I really, really don't. And this is another Marriage of Convenience though, so that's why it's 3.5 stars. This woman gets pregnant out of wedlock. This man comes and offers to marry her to save her reputation and to be able to give this woman and her child a life. So it was good. It was just really heavy. So don't go into this thinking that you're just going to be just so happy reading it, because you won't. But I still recommend it. It's like Regency romance era, not necessarily historical fiction, but that sort of thing. Then we've got Blackmore by Julianne Donaldson. This is a 5-star read for me, just because this is one of the first books I ever read in my mom's library at home when I was like 14. So this is a first reread for me in a really long time, because I've just been expanding and just exploring new genres, and so I just haven't had time to reread any books I've read in the past. And so this was my first reread in like a 1.5 years, and it was so enjoyable. I really enjoy this book. It's just so nostalgic for me. It's childhood best friends. this boy and this girl. I think his name is Henry. Her name is Kate. And from the beginning, you know that he is absolutely in love with her and she's completely clueless. So that's super annoying. But it's a very, very sweet book and one of my favorites of all time. It's like a Regency romance as well. It's like a proper romance. So this one was really good. And then I read one more book that I don't have in my small book form yet. I haven't made it. And I don't remember what it's called. No, I do. Let me think. The Masquerade. It's such a long title, which is why it's so hard to remember. The Masquerade at Middle Crest Abbey. Yeah, that sounds right. I don't remember who wrote it, so that's too bad. But it's by, wow, I just told you that I don't know who read it, or who wrote it. Abigail something. And I'll probably put the book up here. I don't know which side because this is my first video, so I don't know anything. And I give it 3 stars, 3.5 maybe. It's another Marriage of Convenience though, which is why the star ratings are better than I probably would have given it. But this girl, it starts with this girl, she gets in a carriage accident. This is another like historical fiction romance, Regency era, 1800s. And her carriage gets like in an accident and a highway robber comes and saves her from causing the accident. And she has a little boy, she has a son. And she had that son out of wedlock, by the way, another one. And so he offers to marry her, the highway robber. And you find out a bunch of things about him, but it was enjoyable, I guess. It was good. There's just not a ton of romance. It was a mystery more than a romance. So I need romance in a book, like a lot of it, and like a lot of interacting between the main characters. And we just didn't get that in that book, so it wasn't like my favorite. I would recommend it though if you enjoy the Marriage of Convenience trope, which I do. So I try to read every one that I come across. But I think that is all the books I read in January and February. I think we're done now. Thank you so much for watching. This is super out of my comfort zone. I'm extreme introvert. I don't like talking to people. It's like the worst thing ever. But I'm trying new things and I'm doing new things. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next time.